So we now have the news that Rob Edwards has been appointed the manager of Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, I have to say this, and I will say it again, 4 months after he joined Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
But, of course, he's a former Wolves player, and he lives in the area. I wonder what Wolves fans think about it. 03717 223344. A really, really difficult few months ahead for Wolverhampton Wanderers after they appear to sell their best players and then replace them with, who are these lads? I'm sure they're all very good players. So give me a call now. 03717 223344. What do you make of the appointment of Rob Edwards as the new manager of Wolves?
Yeah, he's obviously a good manager, Danny, isn't he? And we had on our Saturday show, me and Max, we had Jackie Oatley on Saturday, a big Wolves fan, obviously expert sports reporter. She was saying that Rob Edwards lives in the area. Obviously, has the Wolves history. He was doing some work for the clubs 5 or 6 months ago, some Q&As and some some PR sort of stuff. So obviously wanted to be involved in the club, because you do go, why would you leave a team with an upswing of momentum for one that is obviously on the downswing? And as we saw when he was at Luton, he was good at forward momentum and upward movement. And when they went down, he didn't quite cope as much. So I do wonder if there's something in his contract that is when they do get relegated, he's sort of guaranteed another year. But we know football doesn't work like that.
Well, I think the length of the contract suggests that they may, and Wolves fans won't want to hear this, may already be planning for that relegation. Because I think it's 3.5 years. So clearly that is allowing him, if they do go down, to rebuild. I'm going to say this one time and one time only, and then I'm going to stop being a curmudgeon about it. I do wish that Rob was a little bit less in press conferences about we're all one big family here, we go together, all the rest of it. And he's very big on building the links between the team, the management and the crowd. I think it leaves a bitter taste in my mouth then if I was a Middlesbrough fan, that after all of that, the first chance he gets to jump ship, albeit to a club with which he has associations, he's off ski. And
he did do that at Forest Green as well, Danny. He was at Forest Green and got them going and then left them. So look, he has a history there. He's obviously a nice guy and is a good football manager.
And football's cruel, but to the fans, just don't be building up that whole picture of yourself if at the back of your mind you're planning or hoping that something else comes along in the near future.
It's kissing the badge in the transfer window, isn't it, Danny?
And, exactly that. Listen, the number again is 03717 223344. One more time, 03717 223344. Want to hear from Wolverhampton Wanderers fans, Borough fans too, about the news that Rob Edwards has gone now and is ensconced at Molly. Next up for us is a caller, 03717 223344. We're joined on the news that Rob Edwards is the new manager of the Wanderers by Wolves fan Dean. Hi, Dean.
Hi, Dean.
Hello.
So, I suppose a change had to be made. What do you make of the appointment of Rob Edwards?
I think it's ridiculous. And the whole thing is just really silly. I don't think it's acceptable the way he's treated Middlesbrough. And this whole thing that he's some kind of Wolves legend I mean, I barely remember him playing for us, genuinely. I know he used to run our academy and that, but anyway, that's my own opinion. I think he's...
Yeah.
I think he's a man who loves himself so much that he's made of chocolate he'd eat himself.
Right, okay.
Okay, had you got... I mean, that is pretty stinging stuff, but had you got a preferred candidate?
Oh, well, to be honest with you, I have no preferred candidate, but I've always felt it was inevitable that Big Sam would manage Wolves one day.
Wow.
That wouldn't necessarily be good, but he'd have the best chance. This is a terrible team. There's problems with the owners, whatever. I don't think... Rob Edwards, if he's a genius, then fair play, but he isn't, so he won't be. So,
do you think then, Dean, do you think, as I suspect, that he's been appointed partially because of what he did with Luton in the lower leagues and with Middlesbrough, that you're already planning for life after relegation?
Well, I'd imagine. Our owners are a little bit shambolic, but I know people will rant about that. But it seems almost inevitable they will be relegated. But, just because you did it once with Luton, He did then get relegated, and then basically got relegated to the third division or whatever it's called now, League One. So
yeah,
his CV's not magnificent, is it?
Oh, we are.
Listen,
Don't sound
Dean,
too happy about it, Rob.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't sound happy about it.
No.
He doesn't remember Rob Edwards' one goal.
100 appearances and 1 goal. I noticed for Wolves, Danny.
Yeah, I don't think he was there to be a striker. But Dean obviously he's left very little mental footprint with our friend Dean, has he? If you've got a different view, or if you want to back up Dean's view, and you're a Wolves fan, 03717 223344. Middlesbrough fans. I know it's tricky to come on now because it sounds like you're crying over spilt milk. But what does it feel like when this happens? When somebody who's been there a couple of months just up sticks for a team who you may well cross over in the 2 leagues in the closed season.
Especially as they're a team that give managers a chance, aren't they, Danny? They gave Carrick a long time.
It's been amazing. It's been amazing with the managers there. Some of them have got far more time than they deserved, in my not too humble opinion. Let's get more on this and other football stories from talkSPORT Saudi correspondent Ben Jacobs. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
Afternoon, guys.
Listen, let's get any appointment in the Premier League at the managerial level is an important story. There'll be some people say this is a lazy appointment. They know Rob. He was working there in the summer before he got the gig at Middlesbrough, and now he's been handed a, if not poisoned, it's certainly not the sweetest chalice. What do you make of the appointment of Rob Edwards?
Yeah, I don't think it's a lazy appointment because let's not forget Rob Edwards was quite close to getting the Wolves job before Julian Lopetegui was appointed. And how many managers are available mid-season prepared to take on this project with Wolves winless and bottom of the Premier League table? And I think it's absolutely true that it's a long-term contract which shows faith but can be interpreted as if he keeps them up, great. And if not, he's the right manager for the Championship as well. He knows the football club. I think I'm right in saying he was still living relatively locally, even whilst working for Middlesbrough and making a long journey, therefore, up there. And that would have been part of his consideration as well. And he has an emotional connection to the club. And he knows the owners who run their windows in a very specific way that's not everybody's cup of tea. So he's the right fit. And really, I think Wolves fans should be asking less about the manager and more about that fit word, because the ownership and the model hasn't changed. And maybe that's led to where Wolves are now in the Premier League table. Of course, losing Mateus Cunha, he was always going to be difficult to replace. And now Edwards is going to have to be backed in January. Otherwise, Wolves are going to be in big trouble.